Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to look at the forecast for each life path number for the month of November 2023. Before we get into that, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading where we'll take a look at your actual personal numerology and dive a bit deeper into that, you can book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. I would love to work with you. On that note, I'm getting ready to put out the the 2024 year ahead forecast for each life path number. I'll probably have those out in early November, or let's just say mid-November to be safe. But if you're interested in sort of getting ahead of the curve and you want to know your personal year ahead forecast, because it will be different than, potentially different than the life path forecast. If you want to know your personal year ahead forecast, then book some time with me. I would love to look at that for you. I will also include, if you book before January 2024, then I'll include any time up to that point. So if you book now, then you'll get the rest of October, November, December, and then all of 2024 in your forecast for your year ahead. So, and if you book in January, that's great too. You'll get all of 2024. So, if you're looking to maybe get figure out what's going on potentially for the next couple of months, then this is a great time to book because I will throw those additional months in for free. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at November. I can't believe we're already here, but here we are. So let's take a look. Life path 22-4. So you all are working with the energy of your core life path this month for energy. So before we get into that, I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got black swan energy. And this is interesting because I almost feel like you all had this recently, or someone had this recently. But this actually ties in really beautiful with the energies you're working with for November. So with 4 energy, it's not uncommon for 4s to have gone through some kind of major traumatic event early in life. And through that traumatic event, there would have been, of course, emotions tied to that, But with the 4 energy, it's such a solution-focused energy that a lot of times what we'll do as 4s is we will bypass the emotion to get to the solution, right? To continue to move forward. It's a very ambitious energy. And so that sounds great, being able to get to the solution of the matter and move forward and continue to progress and all those things. But in doing so, by bypassing those emotions, we're not dealing with them. We're not working with them. We're not acknowledging them. We're not moving through them. And so they will resurface throughout life. With different people that we meet, with different experiences. Sometimes it can bubble to the surface as, aggression or being overly assertive or overly dominating or whatever the case may be. So this month, and again, this is why I say this isn't a coincidence that Black Swan came through. There's definitely this emphasis on dealing with the emotions, working through past trauma, healing what needs to be healed. So this is a great month for looking into getting a therapist or getting a coach or working with someone who's a licensed professional to assist you in digging deep into those emotions, working through that trauma, healing it, and then you can use that medicine, so to speak, in your in your contributions into the world, what you share with the world. Because that's where some of your greatest gifts are located, is beneath all of that emotion, beneath all of that sort of trauma, right? I mean, I know there's it's such a buzzword these days, trauma, and everything is trauma and associated with trauma. But really with 4 energy, there is sort of this common theme where, because again, it's such a practical, dedicated, very much solution-focused energy, it doesn't always have time for the emotions. And so it bypasses to get to the solution. But here's the kicker. The 4 is also very intuitive. It's an incredibly intuitive energy. It's meant to be very heart-centered and heart-led. 4th chakra is the heart chakra. So it's a very intuitive energy. But in order to tap into that intuitiveness, you have to move through the emotions. You have to get through those emotions, work through them, transmute them, and get to a lighter place. And bypassing or avoidance doesn't work. So this journey for you all, for any 4, even 22 4s, is meant to be one where you're taking those emotions, you're working with them, and you're sort of transmuting them into something very positive. And in doing so, you're tapping more and more into your own intuition and your own inner guidance system. It's really hard to get to that inner guidance system if it's covered up by past hurts and pain and trauma and, blockages and all of that. So the journey of the 4 and 22-4 becomes one of unlocking that intuition and learning to work with it. But in order to do that, first we have to move through that darkness, right? Like the shadows and the things we don't really feel like we have time to deal with because there's so many solutions to be found in the world. And to be created and all that. So I do feel like this month is going to have an emphasis on emotions and working through some of those past traumas and things that are blocking you from tapping into your true gift, which is your heart center and your intuition, which then will open up so many new areas within your life. So I do think for those of you that this resonates, you can be proactive and be like, you know what, I just want to move through these blockages. I want to move through these areas where I need some assistance. And you don't have to wait for it to come in through somebody else or through a lesson or through the divine intervention. You can be proactive and be like, no, I want to make this happen. So, schedule a therapist or a coach or whatever. I would even say get a numerology reading. But really for these type of things, this would be more like working with a therapist type thing, right? Which there's nothing wrong with. It is beautiful to have someone unbiased that you can talk to, right? That's removed from the situation. Okay, so emotions, big one. Black swan energy coming through, definitely saying time to heal, time to work through the shadows, time to work through any mental or emotional anguish to get to the root cause of a blockage or of an issue that keeps showing up, coming to the surface. So swan energy is saying take a deep dive because the nutrients are below the surface, right? So it's time to get to those nutrients. And the only way to do that is to face those emotions. So I do feel like November could be an emotional time and sort of in the feels type thing, but allow yourself the time and the space to do that. Okay, I have beat that to death. Now, the other things that I would say is because, again, the 4 energy is very heart-centered, but it's also very loyal and very commitment focused. And so what I would say is there's also this energy coming in this month for 22-4s where you need to check in with yourself and make sure that the things that you are committed to and loyal to feel aligned for you, that you want it, that your heart is in it. It's not uncommon, and it's actually a very common theme for 4s to be so loyal to a fault where they will commit to something and they will not give up on it, even if it's detrimental to them and their health. They will, once they commit to that, they're in it. And so, I use the example with 4s when I did their reading of, like a marriage, right? And I'm not getting into the conversation of religion and, what a vow means and all those things, right? Like that's another conversation. But for the purposes of this, right? A 4 would easily get into a marriage and stay in that marriage, even if it's detrimental to them, even if it's abusive, even if it's whatever the case may be, because they're so solution focused and they're so committed and so loyal that they'll stick with that, even if their heart left the building 6 years ago, right? And so at this point, now they're building somebody else's dream and not their own. And so, nobody came to this planet to live somebody else's life, to build somebody else's dream. So again, I would say that's something that we need to look at this month is what are your commitments? Where is it that your loyalty lies? And in those places, is your heart also there? Does it feel aligned for you? Does it feel good? Does it lift you up? Does it inspire you? Is your heart in it? And so I do think this month is going to bring up opportunities for you to take a closer look at that. And these are themes that have come up before this year. So again, it might just be like a storyline that just needs to be revisited, and maybe some action needs to be taken. Because that's the other thing. When a 4 commits themselves to making changes or adjusting in some way, they commit to it and they will do it. So it's just really about like, where are you willing to put the effort in? Where are you willing to commit yourself? And what are your priorities? And I would say, first and foremost, yourself has to be your priority. What you want, what you need, what makes you thrive. And then you can look at other people and, et cetera, et cetera. So I do think this is a really big month for self-discovery, greater self-exploration, seeing what comes up and seeing where it is that you have some limitations or some blockages that other people can help you to move through. So big month for you all, 22 4s. But I hope it's a beautiful one. It has the potential to be. This has the potential to be a very transformative month, or at least initiate a very transformative process, right? But you have to be at the helm of that. You have to take the initiative, and you have to be proactive. So, but these are themes that'll keep showing up if you choose not to. And eventually, there'll come a point with divine intervention where you'll have to face it. You'll have to do it, right? Then your soul kind of takes over. So anyway, I hope it's a beautiful, transformative, powerful month for you all. So, all right, take care, 22 4s. Bye for now.